especially with the weather being so cold.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first ever 11/11 live. We're here with the 11/11 ladies.
Hey, Doug.
Blanca and Renee, and welcome everyone. We do want to remind you that we are live on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. So we want to make this interactive as always. And if you leave a question or comment concern in the Facebook or YouTube feed, we're able to answer it live. So if you guys are watching, you could definitely put a question in. Or Ali is there and he is answering or writing down your questions, and we'll tune in with him shortly. How are you guys doing?
Good. Happy Sunday.
A little surreal. We're finally here.
Yeah, we're
After
here.
so much planning, right?
We've been talking about this for a long time.
Yes.
And we just pulled the trigger. Inspired action is happening right now.
Yes. Awesome. So, I mean, this is the first one, so I'll help you guys here along the way. Why don't you guys tell us how 11/11 came to be?
So 11/11, as everyone knows, is functional intuitive wellness, and we opened a crystal boutique and studio back 2 weeks before COVID hit.
March close,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So I started this journey back in, I want to say 2018 with my first Reiki practice. And that's how Doug and I met actually. And I opened up an office in Ridgewood, New Jersey. And then I was in that office for about 6 months. And the universe kept placing these thoughts in my head to open up a crystal shop. But it was like, I don't know if I want to do that. I really don't have the finances to do it right now. And it just kept flashing in my head. So I asked another person if they were interested in doing it. They said they weren't interested in pulling the trigger on it. And then one day I was just sitting in my office in my house, and came into my head again. And I just looked up in the air and I said, all right, I'm like, if you want me to do it, I'll do it. Just send me the pieces that I need. I won't ask any questions. I'll trust it. And then literally within 48 hours, I want to say it was like 48 hours, she reached out to me. Blanca reached out to me on Facebook. She reached out to me on Facebook, and she asked me about Reiki certification because I'm a Reiki master and we teach classes. So she reached out to me about that, decided she didn't want to do it. And then within another 24 hours, she said, hey, I want to schedule a session.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So she came into the office.
Halloween.
It was Halloween.
2019.
That's right.
Yep.
2019, right? 2019. Yeah, 2019. And she came in, and within 10 minutes, she was talking to me, and I went, oh my God. I was like, the universe sent me my business partner, but she paid me. She paid me for a session. So I'm like, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
And then we had our session. She came in for Reiki certification. And what was it? Like within a week, we decided to meet at your house.
Mm-hmm.
We met at your house. I met her husband. We sat all day on a Saturday, and we just talked. And at the end of that conversation, we said, let's do it.
Awesome.
Yeah,
How about, and from your side, tell us from your point of view.
I think a little similar, right? I think during that period, I had been looking for a Reiki practitioner. I'd gone to a few, and they didn't really quite hit the mark on what I wanted as far as Reiki healing and just the ongoing Reiki healing. But I also wanted to start some kind of a business, whether it was me at the front or me in the back. I'm really good at the back of the house kind of business where I invest in people and find potential in people and sort of grow that way. But when I met Renee, we were talking about that. I really wanted to help people. I knew that I was helped by Reiki and by meditation and everything that I've learned along the way. And I wanted to find a way to give that back. And she was the perfect catalyst to do that without me having to sort of like quit my day job or quit the things that I had been working on my own. It was a great way to start something and sort of be a part of something without having to proverbially like give up your day job.
Yeah. And the funny thing is too, is I had another client who was friends with her.
Right. Who worked with me.
Who did not know at all that this was going on in my head about starting the store. Mm-hmm. So while I was like kind of putting it out there, this person was talking to her, talking about how you were talking about how you wanted to invest in something without leaving your daytime job. She was looking at possibly working with somebody else. And the mutual connection we had said, you know what, I don't know if you should maybe work with her. I think maybe, I don't know why, but I'm feeling like this might be a good fit and you should meet this other person. Yep. So literally like this was all going on behind the scenes without us knowing each other. I mean, we knew nothing of each other. We went into business together. We didn't like get a lawyer. We didn't write up any contracts. We didn't do anything. I literally said to the universe, I said, just send it to me. And however it comes, I will trust it and I won't question it. And that was
And I was in the same phase. Trust the universe. Trust the universe and see what happens.
Yeah, most people would have thought we were absolutely insane. I think a lot of people thought we were insane.
Oh no, everybody I know thought I was insane.
Yeah, and it was right before. It was right when COVID was starting.
Yeah.
So we did that. I like to say that part of what we do is we sling crystals for a living. So we like opened up a rock shop.
Yeah.
We opened up a rock shop 2 weeks before COVID hit.
Yeah, we opened up March 1st, and then March 13th we had to close our doors.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
So the partnership was made. The endeavor was started. For the people just tuning in or just learning about you, why don't you guys describe what is 1111 Healing?
Oh my gosh, it's a lot of things. I mean, when I originally started, I was Reiki certified, and I was going through. Well, I've gone through a lot of struggles in my life from like the time I was a child, moving into my adult life, and like everybody, I was just really searching for answers. I was searching for my purpose. I was searching for healing and change in my life. So I want to say like around maybe 2015. I mean, I've always been into crystals. I've always been in intuitive, but I wasn't like, if you talk to Long Island medium and you read her books, and when they interview her, she's like, oh, I saw dead people at the corner of my bed when I was 5. That wasn't me. I was very intuitive and into crystals, but it just wasn't my thing. So as an adult, a lot of the things I went through as a child and prior to this happening, I started kind of dabbling in the world of spirituality, because a lot of people who are in this world have kind of deviated from traditional religion. And so when I was walking into this, I was more agnostic, and I believed that something was out there, but I wasn't sure what it was. So I went and I got Reiki, and I got into crystals, and I'd see a medium here or there. And it really, it helped me. It helped me. But I think along the way, I think that the spiritual community and what is out there isn't necessarily taught in the right way. So I really got moved into this, I think, to really learn more about all different types of practices, not just when I say spiritual, but like about energy and neuroscience and even religion, pieces of religion that really work, and pull them apart to teach people how to make real change in their lives, not just going to a medium or going to a Reiki practitioner or anybody who's in the intuitive wellness world, shelling out money and kind of getting a grasp at something, but not really being able to make real change in their lives. And I was able to make change in my life. And I felt like if I can do that, I'm not unique or special. I mean, I am unique and special, of course, right? But I felt like other people can do that too. And I really wanted to be able to teach others.
Awesome. Great stuff. The comments are starting to roll in. So Tara is so happy that you guys connected. So Tara's tuning in. Thank you for tuning in.
Tara has a jewelry in our
She does. Yeah,
store.
She's one of our vendors, our artists that supplies
one of our
beautiful
artists,
jewelry.
crystal artists
nice,
in the store.
Awesome. Which makes me want to remind you guys at home, if you have a question, comment, concern, please put them in the comments section. We can answer them live. Ali, do we have anything on TikTok and Instagram? A lot of hellos. So yes, we're live everywhere. And we want to remind you guys in TikTok world and Instagram, if you go to the YouTube channel and the live stream, and if you put a comment in or a question, and we can answer it live and bring it on stream with us today. Great. So you guys got started. You put all the pieces together. So any stories along the way, the journey, what brings us here today?
I know Blanca has to answer that part of that question.
Oh, yes,
we kind of came together.
Yeah, I think, I agree. I mean, I'm not going to repeat what you said, but I think the main thing that I'd like, that I wanted with 1111 and not only the retail space, but our workshop space in the end, was to have a place for people to sort of find their tribe, to people to find like-minded folks who think about the same things, they want to explore the same things, and they want to learn from each other, because we all sort of accumulate this information, what helped us, what didn't help us. And I wanted a place where people can do that, where people sort of join each other and have that conversation. And I think that we've started that. I think that people are starting to come in and get to know us. They get to know Ali, and they get to know Renee. And we've had our first moon ritual last week, which was awesome, right? People, it's sort of like a little bit of group therapy without the therapy. Yep. A little bit of people sharing their stories and sort of sharing their experiences within the store. And that's really what the main goal for me was. I wanted to find my tribe. I wanted to find the folks that are like-minded. I think I have a really good um, unit that's around me, my friends and family, and I want that for everybody. I want everybody to sort of find those. And it's kind of hard to find that when you can't. It's kind of hard to talk about, right? Oh, I believe in a crystal, or I think a crystal's helping me, or that I think spiritualism or anything is helping me. But when you find like-minded people, it's very easy. It's easier to talk and to share.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's all energy. I
Yeah.
mean, it's not, as spirituality and science, very much so out in the world, they're separated, but they really are not, at least in my own experience and everything that we've done. They work together. So we're trying to teach people that, because you can make real change and actually find inner peace in that mind, body, soul connection that everybody talks about.
Yeah.
So correct me if I'm wrong, because I could totally be off, but
Mhm.
there is a great quote. You are like the sum of the five most people you hang out with. That's like a known
Exactly.
quote, right?
Yeah.
So, you're building a tribe, you're building a community. You aren't just crystals, you aren't just Reiki. You're trying to help people get from point A to point B. It's not
Correct.
like you're not like really one thing. It's like, what can you do to help people get on their journey? Right.
Right. I mean, I think that out in the world of woo, I hate that word woo, but it's what makes people most comfortable when they're kind of walking into this. I think that there's so much out there. There's so much information, and to be quite honest, I think now with the pandemic and COVID, so many people are, and again, another word, it's not my favorite word, but are kind of they're being woken up, to make change and to kind of heal themselves and where they come from, and that's not an easy thing to do. And I think that they're in the spiritual world, if you want to call it that. There's a lot of insight, and I think there's a lot of information. I just don't think there is a lot of direction. It's like you can't, we talk about this all the time when people come into the store. You can't just buy a crystal for $3
Yep.
and stick it in your pocket or
And
make a
think that
wish
it's
on
gonna
it and it's going to
magically do
change
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like it's going to change your life.
Yeah.
It's really, we've learned in the store, in our own personal lives, that it's all energy. So just trying to pull apart what that is and what kind of energy you're operating out of. It's really, it's a support system. Everything that's
Yeah.
out there in this world is a support system. It's no different than the kind of food, right, that you put into your body, and what are you putting into your temple, and how does that affect you? It's all the same. It's just in the spiritual world, you can't see anything, right? Like you can't see anything, and everybody, the human mind and the human ego, wants proof and evidence. So we try to bring that to people, to actually say, this is how this stuff actually works. Now go out and try to use it and create that real evidence in your own life. And that's really, the magic that we try to teach people.
I think the biggest, one of my best friends in the world once told me the best gift that you can give yourself or anyone around you is self-awareness. Awareness about how you react to people, how people react to you, how you're walking in this world and making a difference in people's lives. And I think people don't step back and realize that. We're so busy living in the past and then looking towards the future that we don't look at where we're standing right now. And why are things triggering us? Why are things bothering us? Why are we angry? Why are we sad? Why can't we let go of the angst, right? And I think when you're self-aware and you start questioning yourself, you help yourself. You figure out, you walk in that, you walk in that path and you help yourself. And I think the greatest thing, the greatest gift I was ever given was that self-awareness. Why am I getting triggered? Why are people triggering me?
Yeah, and everybody's really getting triggered right now. Because of the pandemic. Everybody's like really questioning themselves about who they are, where they are in life, how they're dealing with things. A lot of, this, I think, has really caused people to have a lack of control, which is a human thing. We all want control over everything. So,
yeah. So, I mean, going with the pandemic right now, you're saying, so like, it might have been, at the time, feeling a little pressure because you just opened your store and now you got to close your doors, but maybe that's exactly what people needed was you guys during the pandemic. So you guys want to go into that a little bit?
I mean, I think that we, it's crazy because when we we only knew each other for not that long. We met at the end of October, right?
Yep.
And then in March we had to shut down, and it was crazy because we were just kind of like, we'd be on the phone talking about it, and we're like, all right, well, whatever, let's just be present in this and deal with what we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and whatever is going to be is going to be. And if we lose money, we lose some money, whatever. What's the worst thing that's going to happen to us in the grand scheme of everything that's going on? But we've thrived, and we just keep trudging along. We follow our intuition, and we work on ourselves and our relationships, and we really have not had any issues. Like, it's crazy. Like, I feel like if everything is energy, and if you're operating out of a high vibing energy, and you really block out the rest of the world and what everybody else's expectations are, I really believe that the universe has got your back, and that you can succeed. I mean, I left the insurance and financial services. I was mainly in the insurance and financial services for 15 years. Never in a million years did I ever think that this is what I would be doing. There were definitely like ethereal breadcrumbs dropped along the way, but I never imagined that we would be doing this, and we'd actually be successful and growing. So
great stuff, guys. Want to remind you all at home again, if you have a question, comment, concern, please put in the comment section. How are we doing over there at TikTok and Instagram world?
TikTok, we have a few more highs.
A lot of highs.
We're always on TikTok. That's where a lot of our audience is. So Doug and I were talking about that. We gotta make sure we have the TikTokers on, because we have our 13,000 followers on TikTok. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So the journey has begun. You guys have been doing a great job before and during the pandemic here. So why don't we go into, now this is like a new chapter. I actually labeled this episode a new chapter. We're starting a live stream show to get your message out to the interwebs and nationwide. So are you guys excited about that?
Yeah, I think what we're seeing now is that things are opening up. Mask mandate is coming down. I think 90% of people are vaccinated now. So we're excited to sort of start our workshops at the store and have people come in and start sharing their stories. We're starting to have moon ceremonies. I'm a human design consultant, so I wanted to start some human design workshops, Reiki workshops. Ali's been getting into astrology and tarot card reading and some different things that we've been trying to learn and learn more about, so that we can have those conversations. So it's a huge new beginning for us, just to do what we wanted to do, which was the workshops. But that was the biggest piece of what we couldn't do when the pandemic started.
Yeah, we couldn't really use our studio. We were just trying to be safe. It's funny because when the store idea got planted into my intuitive mind, I was in retail management when I first moved to New Jersey about 10 years ago. And I actually am not a big fan of retail management. And if you were going to ask me what I was going to do with my life, owning a store that I thought I might have to be married to would be the last thing I would want to do. But I looked at it for the bigger picture. The reason I wanted to open up a store, and the reason we did it, is because, and that's not really our main focus, is the store. We love the store. It's great, but it's a hub for people to come in and ask questions and learn. And there are many, many amazing stores in the tri-state area, in the New York City area. But people are very hesitant, when they see spiritual shops, to walk in, even though they're curious. And so we really wanted to create like a safe space, very light. When people look in, they're like, what's going on in here? Like, let's just go in and ask questions and not feel like they're going to, have some weird negative energy looming over them. Because I used to be like that. I grew up really Catholic. And even when I first moved into all of this, I was scared that if I went to a Reiki practitioner, or somebody pulled my cards, or I went and bought a crystal, that, the God would come raining down on me, telling me that that's a bad thing, Renee. But it's not. Again, it's all in the energy and how you use things. So that's really what the crystal store is really all about. We're actually more focused in 2022 about relationships, which that's what the number 2 is all about. But we're really focused on relationships and bringing people together and educating. Yeah.
Awesome. Great stuff, guys. So now that we know what's going on, we know what you guys are doing, do we have any, we don't have to name names, but like stories of success or things that we've been doing lately in the shop?
Oh my
What's
gosh.
going on?
I
What's
mean,
going on
it's
today?
been, it was weird. Like leaving 2021 to 2022, like we knew we were in a transition and we were going to do something different. What really, like really awesome success. I mean, we built out the office upstairs, which we didn't even talk about.
Right. Yep. We have a Reiki practice upstairs. Renee has a Reiki practice upstairs where she has what would you call them?
So it would be a functional intuitive wellness. So I don't know any. I mean, this was for the what Gen Z generation. Unless you're on Netflix, you might not know what this is. But my concept for the office, we're in an office suite around the corner upstairs in the building. And if anybody's ever seen the show Private Practice, right, that's functional wellness. So they had a pediatrician in there, and they had a holistic nutrition guy, and they've got they had an internist or whatever, and they were more focused on like more holistic natural wellness or whatever. But that's really what I was focused on. Like I thought the universe kind of downloaded stuff into my head. It's like open up a practice with different practitioners that we were all in alignment of what we were offering to and services to the community, but bring a lot of different intuitive practitioners together to offer different types of healing modalities, and more normalize it, because this industry, either people are like really really into it, or they think it's the totally hokey fraudulent stuff. I believe, and I know just from my own life, and then seeing our customers and clients, and I know it's real. I believe it. So I just, again, wanted to bring it to more of the functional forefront and make it less scary, and show people and teach people that this stuff is real. So we have the office. Yeah. We opened in May. I want to say, again, the universe came in, kind of set up all the pieces, and we opened up the office, and we've been building out the office. I would say too, for 2022, we've had a lot of people come to us for collaborations.
Yeah.
To come into the office, to collaborate in the store, because
sound
we bring
healing,
sound
meditation,
healing with the workshops.
yoga.
Yeah, we literally walked into 2022 with a focus of relationships, collaborations, building out the education part, and the universe has been literally sending people our way without us even looking.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think the greatest thing about being at the store is just having folks come in and open up to us, have those conversations, share with us what they're going through, sharing experiences, and having them walk out a little lighter. I think the one phrase I hear all the time is, I needed to hear that. I needed to have that conversation today. And I think because of the pandemic, because we've all realized that maybe the people that were in our lives weren't necessarily the right people in our lives, it's hard to find friendships. It's hard to find people that think alike. And if you walk into a store that is just willing to listen, or anywhere of anyone that's just willing to listen and have that open conversation with you and not judge you and not think badly of you because you did something wrong or you had an argument that maybe was frivolous, I think that matters. And I think people need that. People need that sort of relation. And I feel like when people come in and learn how to talk to us, it's easier for them to go and then talk to their loved ones and have that conversation in a whole different perspective, instead of it being a fight or being an argument. I think Renee and I look at things a little differently sometimes. I know when I have a little bit more of a think about what the other person is going through type of thing. And I think you've been through different things in your life where sometimes that may not be the first thing we think about. But I like to have people sort of think about what the other person is going through, have a little compassion and empathy. And this doesn't mean you have to put up with abuse. It doesn't mean you have to put up with someone yelling at you or toxicity, but it does mean that you give people a chance to have that conversation with you. And not everyone in our lives are, need to be cut off, right? Maybe we're learning from them. Maybe we have to learn from them. Maybe there's something that they're going to teach us. So I think having those different perspectives, and then that person that comes in having their own discernment and intuition, which Renee's mentioned intuition multiple times.
Yeah, that's all I talk about
that
all
is so
day long.
That is so important, because I think we get taught that. As we grow up, we get taught to not use our intuition and use logic. What does our brain tell us to do instead of our heart? And I think the pandemic has sort of taught us, like, maybe we need to rely a little bit more on our intuition than the logic piece of it. And that discernment, that if you have a bad feeling about something, 9 times out of 10, it's bad.
Yeah. And you know what? That's the, I would say, as far as intuition, like what do we say? We say what we do is functional intuitive wellness. So when I look at the word intuitive, it's all of those things that people are searching for that they can't see. Like I talk about this every single day. And I think where we've been so successful, is bringing in the community to actually talk about these things and to talk about what does it mean to be intuitive? What does it mean to embrace your psychic abilities? Because I believe that everybody has the power of intuition. I believe that everybody has somebody, in their ear every single day, and not necessarily in a separate voice, but just the thoughts and the inner dialogue in your mind. So, that's what we're trying to, again, kind of separate ourselves from the rest of the spiritual community, and teaching people how to connect to that, because everybody's out there in at least in our world, everybody's spending all this money because they're searching, they're struggling, they're hurting, and they're looking for signs outside of themselves, not by people, but in the intuitive spiritual world, to help guide them along. And most people don't realize that guidance is there all the time with them, 24/7. I mean, I know it, I believe it, because I've connected to it in my own life. And again, when I work with people, first thing I say, I'm like, I don't hear voices. I don't hear separate voices. That only happened to me maybe a couple times in my whole entire life, but I don't hear separate voices. I just connect to what's going on in my inner dialogue, my own thought voice, and I connect to my inner child, and I've learned how to pull apart all of those voices and be able to move appropriately in the right direction. And everybody has the power to do that. We just need to help and teach the right way.
Awesome, guys. So it's very obvious that you're looking to build a community and help people, right?
Yep.
So, and we all agree that everything happens for a reason, right? So
It
I bet
does.
there's someone out there who's watching who maybe needs some help, right? So if we can, shoot me down if you want, but first thing that comes to mind, why don't we give a little tip or trick or some help for whatever someone might be going through at this moment?
So
Does
I
that
would
make sense?
say,
Did I
yeah.
even make
So
any
I
sense?
would say, I don't. Blanca and I are so funny because we're so like yin and yang, and we work so well together. I'm like more of the tune into, pull apart intuition and the thoughts in your head. I mean, would you agree? And she is very much about more of the magic. And we say magic, like elemental, using earth elements to create a certain kind of energy. So would you agree with that? Yeah. So I think that the one thing that I talk about all the time, when I want to say it was in maybe 2015, right? We have all these things that are going on in our heads, in our own inner dialogue and thoughts. And I like to say it's like, your thoughts like screw with you all the time. And they really create a lot of anxiety and whatnot. But like I was, it was around 2015, I was at this networking event when I was back in the insurance industry, and something in my mind, again, in my own thought voice, said to me, you know what, Renee, everything in your head, everything that's going on in your mind, it's not just yours. And I thought, what does that mean? But I kind of ran with it, and I didn't understand it to the extent that I understand it now. But I realized that the thoughts that were going in my mind were coming from, say, my ego, fear-based energy, my traumatized inner child. It could be, your spirit guides, deceased loved ones, whatever it is that you believe, whatever name you want to put on it. Think about that. There are so many thoughts going on in your head that are generated. But I tell people that I believe that 80% of what goes on in the human mind is not yours. I believe it's not cerebrally created by your brain. It's coming from somewhere else. And really think about that. Think about, like, if you're having a thought and it's fear-based, and be like, all right, where is this coming from? Is this coming from my fear-based ego? And is it coming from like my inner child because I went through a trauma, or I had some sort of experience that programmed me a certain way? Really pay attention to what's going on in your head, because again, you're not crazy. I really believe you're not crazy with all those things going on in your mind, that you have to be able to pull it apart for the guidance.
Yeah, I think I'd use the same. The advice I would give to people is to sort of step out of the situation, right? Look at it from a different perspective. When people talk about 3D, 4D, and 5D, which I think if you're in the spiritual community, people talk about it all the time. It's not a different dimension. It's a different state of being. It's being able to step out of a situation, look at it from different people's point of views, and then make sense out of it without it just being your own fear and your own ego and your own
reaction,
trigger and reaction. Yeah, just step out of it. Why am I reacting this way? Why is it that they said something and it just triggered me to go eat a whole apple pie? Like, what is it that is making you move forward? And then once you start just dissecting things little by little, you realize that it's things that are happening around you, and it's not really what you want to do or who you want to be. It's really what is affecting you in that way. And you can look back and you can sometimes look at it and say, oh, it's, a trauma I had when I was 7, and it stayed with me
Mhm.
forever. And once you identify it, it's so much easier to
Yeah, it's easy to
just
start
push it
working.
away.
Yeah,
And
starting to
yeah,
yeah, starting
that
to heal it.
self-awareness
Yeah.
of realizing what it is that's triggering you and why it's triggering you, and then it's not everyone around you. There's so many different times when people think that other people are making them do something or making them react some way. No one can make you do anything. No one can make you something. It's you control your life. And when you start taking control of that, it's so much easier to sort of reflect on that and see it, and see that why it's triggering you that way.
But I just it came to mind because we give
Mm.
tips out all the time, right? So in the spirit of being able to kind of step away, take a deep breath when
Mhm.
you're getting triggered, there are definitely a couple things that you can do. There's so much talk in the mind body connection, about meditation. And meditation is not an easy thing to do, but it doesn't have to be a hard thing. I mean, we don't have to take every single thing that we do and pull it apart and judge it. So we talk about this all the time as far
Mhm.
as all the resources out there. The Insight Timer app. I think it's called what? Calm. There's a Calm
Calm,
meditation
yeah.
app. There are so many different types of meditation apps out there, and you don't have to sit and meditate for 30 minutes at a time. You can get
Yeah.
literally there's 30-second meditations. There's meditations that have music. There's meditations that are guided that can help you. You don't have to do it all by yourself. You literally can get Insight Timer. I have Insight Timer. I use it with my clients. I love it. I am not a great meditator. I talk about how I actively meditate all the time when I'm walking around, but sitting down is hard. So, you make the time and sit down, even if it's just 5 minutes in the morning and 5 minutes in the evening, just to try to quiet your mind. And again, don't judge yourself while you're doing it.
Yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minutes will make such a difference. And meditation is attention. It's not quiet. Meditation is
Mhm.
not that you're supposed to sit there and quiet your brain and everything. Meditation is attention to your day, attention to the present moment. You could meditate while you're coloring. I love giving that advice to parents when they want to quiet their children down because they feel like they're going through some kind of anxiety. Get them a coloring book. Get them a
Mhm.
coloring book, something that they're
Right.
focusing on. Get them something to fidget with. Get them something that they're taking away from everything that's around them. Meditation is not quiet. Meditation is attention, attention to your
Right.
day, attention to a problem, attention to a question where you're not thinking about the past and you're not thinking about the future. You're putting the attention into the present moment. So you don't have to be a meditator. A meditator is the person that's up in the Buddhist temples that has to meditate all day. You don't have to be, that's not your job. Your job isn't to be someone that meditates. Meditation is something that you just happen to do. So if you just need to do a 5 minutes every morning, that ritual, that connection, that habit that you form, it'll grow. It took me 7 years to be able to sit quietly for 45 minutes and meditate in the day. I started off with 5 minutes, and that was a huge change. So I think people put pressure on themselves that they have to sit for half an hour and quiet their mind. No, listen to what's coming in. Pay attention to what the world is bringing for you to pay attention to, and then move forward to a quiet moment. It doesn't have to be
Right.
quiet the first time.
Yep. Stop judging yourself for
Yeah, stop
everything that
judging
you're
yourself.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're cooking. Yeah. Now we're cooking. I like it. I like it. Great stuff, guys. Do want to remind you, we are live. So please put a question in the comment section. We're dealing with meditation right now. That you might have a question about meditation. Ali, how we doing in TikTok, Instagram world?
Everybody's just saying
Great.
hi. Hi.
Good stuff.
They're so this is so like out of they're not used to
Yeah.
this. They're
That's
not used to
okay.
this. Because usually my face is like right there. We're talking
They're getting a behind the scenes look.
directly. Yeah.
Great stuff. We do have a question from Facebook from Brian. What would you recommend to someone who wants to begin to tap into their spirituality more?
I think it's how you define your spirituality. That's
Mhm.
something that Renee and I talk about all the time because that's funny. Doug was just looking for music to play,
Yeah.
and he put in the search engine spiritual, and church music came up. Christian church music came up, right? So spirituality really means something different to everyone. I think that if you want to tap into your spirituality, get to know yourself. Figure out who you are, figure out what you like, figure out what's triggering you, because you're never going to be able to really tap into what's spiritual outside of you till you figure out what's inside of you. I think we are walking around with this sort of persona of who we should be, or who our parents think we should be. Figure yourself out. Start asking yourself questions. Read a book. Find the book. I remember when uh
Yeah, just search. Just
yeah,
start.
just
Start.
search,
Yeah, just be curious.
yeah, I mean, everybody starts off with The Secret, right? And The Secret's pretty rudimentary, right? Everybody knows The
The
Secret,
book.
the
Yeah.
book, The Law of Attraction. But find something, find what resonates for you. Ask people, what do you want to read? What do you read? What's taking you to that next level of your spirituality?
And it's funny
Yeah.
because this last week or two, I've been talking about a lot about the definition of spirituality. So right here, I looked it up because I've looked it up many times before, and it says spirituality, the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things, which could mean so much to different people.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, think about it. Why do people use the word spiritual, right? Because they actually want to get away from the construct of religion, like organized religion, right? So if we look at the word spirituality, what does that really mean? And it says the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. So again, it's like taking all of the expectations and everything that we've been taught and pushing it out and really getting inside of yourself, right? Like getting inside of you, the human being. And also, it's being spiritual as well. It's like you got to deal with this first, but also being able to kind of embrace humanity for what it is. It's just a lot of people that are walking around with a lot of shit on their shoulders, right? That we're all just trying to figure it out. We're all trying to heal instead of arguing with each other all the time. But definitely when you want to like kind of go out and start dabbling in spirituality, you got to figure out what that is. But I would say whatever kind of comes to your intuition, like if you're drawn to go get a book, if you're drawn to walk into a crystal shop, I mean, even spirituality could even mean like if you're drawn to go into, a church, I mean, it's a, you know what I mean? Just because it's a church doesn't mean that, you can't be spiritual and that it's religious, you know?
Actually, it's funny. We were having this conversation because I was telling Renee about my experience with religion growing up, and I didn't have a bad experience with religion. The church, the Catholic Church, when I was growing up, was actually where I went to school. I went to Catholic school. We had aftercare programs, and that is where our community was. And it wasn't so much focused on the Bible and religion. It was more focused on community and sort of this I'm Hispanic, this Hispanic community getting together and helping each other and just being together. It wasn't the Bible thumping kind of that I grew up with. So that was part of my spiritual journey, was having a community and connection. Hobbies, just finding something that you love, that is, you don't get paid to do and that you just enjoy doing. Finding what you are
just
creative at.
Whatever works to connect
just
you to
whatever works
yourself.
for you. I think that
taking a walk is being spiritual.
Nature,
going out in nature is spiritual.
Watching a storm. Like I love just like looking out the window and there's like a thunderstorm and just how the world reacts to that thunderstorm. I think it's really what you want it to be. And I think that's what Renee and I have been have great conversations about, is almost creating your own religion. Like, what is your religion?
That is what we talk about all the time. You create your own religion because, you go into any community and you get into spirituality or religion. And it's like, we talk about this all the time. If anybody meets me on the street or comes into the store, and all of our customers and all of our clients can attest to this, like, I don't walk out there. I'm not all spiritually crunchy, and I don't walk around with just like tons of crystals on me, and I have, I'm wearing like my flowy goddess, clothes. Like, it's being spiritual is unique to that specific person, and it's just about getting within yourself and feeling your own oneness.
Yeah. Who are you?
Yeah.
Like, who are you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, key thing, maybe I'm completely wrong. Like, always tell me if I'm way off, because you guys are the experts.
No, please. We love when people talk and engage.
So like, I hear chiropractors say it all the time, like your body heals itself, right? Right. Your body has the capabilities of healing itself. It needs to be aligned, right? So like, if you're drawn to something, maybe that's your body telling you, I need this to heal.
Yeah, it's not only and think about it. You put everything together. It's not just your body. It's everything. I mean, you think about you have your physical and spiritual. I'm not gonna use the word spiritual. I'm gonna say you have the physical and non-physical aspects of yourself. So yes, right. You're saying your body is attracted to something and telling you that it needs something. Same thing with your mind. Again, you have to figure out that's a connection to your intuition and your psychic senses, because that in itself, if your body is telling you something, that's intuitive. If your mind is telling you something, that's intuitive. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And science
you have to listen
backs
to that.
That up. Science backs that up.
Does back that
up.
So
I just read a book called The Body Keeps a Score. It's by you'll find it. It's The Body Keeps a Score. I don't have my glasses on.
It's the only one called that.
But, it's funny, in my own kind of research, quasi asking questions, I found that a lot of people that I know, that I personally know, this is not based on science or based on any kind of data, that were having lung issues during COVID, that were having to get on respirators. From the people that I knew, they really had a lot of, they were mourning someone. And when you look at the Hindu chakra system, and you really read about the body, all your organs are attached to something, and your lungs is where you keep that bereavement, that when you miss someone, it's part of your lungs. And I thought it was interesting that a lot of the folks that I knew that had to be put on respirators, that got sick during COVID, that it attacked their lungs, were people that I knew who were still missing someone, who was still years later, 15 years later, they were still mourning people that didn't just pass away, but they were still feeling it like if they were just passed away. Whether they felt like they didn't say something that they should have said, or whatever way they were mourning it, it felt like it was attacking their lungs. And so your body keeps that score. Your body keeps everything that you hold into your brain. Your brain is such a huge part. The way you think is such a huge part
Well, it
about how
generates all the
everything works.
and it generates
Yeah.
chemicals that run through your
Yeah.
body. But it's like energetic, and I call it energetic inflammation.
Yeah.
When you're, I don't have my phone on me right now, but the one thing that I always explain to people is that if you look at this computer right now, your body is the hardware.
Mhm.
And then say if you look at the phone and you've got all your apps and everything that make your phone work, that is what we like to call the energy organs, your chakra system, every energy system that you have. But that's the software system that makes you tick, on multiple levels. And you have to, again, you say the body, what does it call it?
The body keeps a score.
The body keeps a
Mhm.
score. I mean, you have to learn how to get connected to all of that and be able to listen to it. But yeah, I mean, all of it works in tangent with each other.
Yeah.
Great stuff, guys. Now, you guys have places to go and people to see. Always
Sunday.
So I want to let the people know it's your last chance. If you're going to ask a question, please put it in the comments section. I'll let you last chance. No questions, just a lot of hey, what's ups and high fives. Awesome. So awesome, great stuff. And we want to remind TikTok and Instagram, if you do want to ask a question, please go to our YouTube channel or Facebook and put it into that comment section so we could bring it up. Just like this one from Rachel, we have, does modern technology enhance or detract us from reaching a spiritual place?
What, Rachel? That's a great question.
That is a great question.
The powers that be, or whoever it is that runs that algorithm, can't run it without you. So if you want to use technology to improve your life, then hack the algorithm.
It's the energy in which you're, it's the energy in which you're operating.
Yeah, stop looking at like skinny girls that make you feel fat. Let the technology help you find the world that you want, right? So if you hack that algorithm, and my algorithm is full of spiritual saying, the moon stuff, like the things that I'm interested in. And then when something comes in, I see a different opinion, and I'll keep track of that different opinion, but I'll still keep my algorithm to what I want it to be. I don't want to let somebody else control what I'm seeing.
Yeah. At the end of the day, technology works for you and against you. I mean, you can argue either way. That's why the getting connected to yourself and what's good for you and what you're vibing at, low vibe or high vibe, is so important, because I know like technology is amazing, right? Like we've accomplished, I mean, just within our business and my own personal life, like I've accomplished so much, but there are times when that technology is at low vibe and my hands are hurting, right? Like from being like this on my phone, or I'm like super foggy in my head, or I'm seeing more negative, low vibing stuff on the news. And I have to be able to say, you know what? This is how I feel. This is what's going on in my mindset, and I need to walk away from it. And I think that where it is a detriment, right, is that we are not aware and we are not connecting to ourselves. And with the generation that's coming up in all this technology, if we're not, as the adults, starting to get connected to ourselves, and again, being able to read that energy and shift the energy, say from a low vibe or a high vibe. Again, I always talk about ego, fear-based, or higher self. Then we're raising our kids also in that negative energy. So we, as the adults, really need to identify that and then teach our kids differently. So like my kids are all over TikTok, Snapchat, they're all over all the social media outlets, right? And I can look at it, and my kids, thank God, I have a really good relationship with them. We talk a lot, we communicate a lot, but they basically show me, and I see what goes on in their social media world and their technology world. And I got to be honest, like it can be a little frightening, but you got to be able to establish, again, work on it in your life, and then you have to have the communication and the relationships with your kids, so you know what's going on and you can teach them. So if my kids are on, Snapchat, like they're basically online dating for free at like the age of, in 7th grade on Snapchat, I have to be able to say, all right, identify, all right, this is not necessarily healthy, this is not how you develop relationships with the, I don't know anybody out there, like who's left undelivered and who didn't see this message, and 30 minutes, they don't like me, they do like me, like things have changed with technology. So you have to be aware of that energy. Is it high vibe? Is it low vibe? And work on it yourself, and then teach the kids. Otherwise, it can be very, very dangerous. Yeah.
And on the flip side, that's what I do for a living in my day job. I implement software and technology, and if you put junk in the technology, you get junk data back. So you have to be very discerning with what you're putting into it in order to get the right things back. That data could be skewed in any type of way by the data that you put in there. So make sure that the data that you're collecting is really what you want in your life, like what you want.
And you have to just be realistic that like the world out there is one big construct. It always has been. It has been for centuries. And so that's why it's so important to connect to yourself and what's good for you and what's healthy for you, and be able to filter out the stuff that's more of like that controlling, fear-based information that's out in the world.
Yeah, we spoke about it before. You were the sum of the 5 people you most hang out with. Yep. It's no different with the phone. We run a marketing studio here, and people always are attacking the phone, attacking the apps. But what you were consuming, what you were putting in, what you were watching, it's showing you more of.
Right, yeah.
So if you want to follow positive people, you want to follow, like, interact with those posts, because you'll see more
positive. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Right. So it's not like we tend to demonize things, but if we use them the proper way, or we learn to use them better, it might actually help us in the long run.
Yeah, I mean, I think too as well. It's like like put your phone like don't leave it by your head in the middle of the night. Like don't have your phone in your earbuds in your ear like 24/7. I mean, you just have to be discerning.
Yeah, I've actually done that. I found myself sort of going down the TikTok rabbit hole, and I put a timer on it. I put a timer on it. Yeah, but I put a timer on it. I put a hour timer a day, and when I get to my hour, I stop watching it, because I know that if I get into TikTok, I won't do 20 things that I had to do that day. But I think if we all monitored our own, then we'll get it.
Nothing is ever all bad and all good. You know
Always
what I mean?
The shades of gray.
We talk about it all the time. It's like excuse me. It's like everybody's polarized in the good or bad of things, and there's one big gray area that we should be spending more time in.
Yeah, I always try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And that is a whole nother episode. Exactly, right there. Great stuff, guys. Last chance comments in the comment section. Ali, anything from TikTok and Instagram world? All right. Well, thank you guys.
Well, actually, before we go, we work better. Renee and I work better when you ask us questions, or when you ask us about topics. Yeah. So if you leave questions, I guess on YouTube, they can leave comments or questions. Or if you want to DM us, and there's something that you want us to prepare for, or have a conversation, or have a subject.
Yeah, if you guys want to talk about something.
All right. So for future episodes, how about we give them an email address? Is that cool? We go. So what's the email address we'd like to share?
Info. So info at 11elevenhealing.com. Don't worry, we have so much stuff to unpack. The TikTokers, they love when we rip out the cards and we talk about chakras and energy and intuition. So we'll be doing that.
So for next episode, if you're watching, please email us the topics you'd like to cover. But remember too, we are live, so in real time you can ask us questions, comments, concerns, and the lovely ladies of 1111 will answer.
And I want to say one more thing before we leave. We actually are really we're talking about starting sort of like a book club. I don't want to call it a club, but we really want to start kind of diving in. There's so much information out there. And again, the one thing we focus on at 1111 is like not gatekeeping information. So one size doesn't fit all. And there's a lot of information that you can root through in terms of, your spirituality. And we really want to start, I think, like tackling that and reading books and talking about that stuff when we come, spending some time talking about it when we come on here. So like, I just got The Secret out. I'm going to start reading The Secret again. And I think there's like 3 more secret books or something like that.
The Secret, The Power, Money. and there's another
I
one.
got them all.
So if you're
I got
interested,
I got a big library, guys.
yeah, I was
got
gonna
'em all.
say, get The Secret. Start
Yeah.
reading The Secret because I'm gonna
That's
start
the
reading
first
that
one
again.
we're-
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I'm gonna start reading that again this week.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yep.
good stuff. Any other stuff you want to share with the people? Episode 1 in the books, guys.
No, just
Wow.
come on, just stop. Listen, stop in the store. Like again, that
Yeah.
store. Obviously, we pay our bills in that store. We sell things, but at the end of the day, we are about education. We are about relationships, and we are about creating a safe space in the spiritual community. So many people can attest to this. That is a place that you can just come in, say hello, run some things past us. Sometimes I spend an hour in that store talking to people and educating them. We have the studio in the back. If you just need a safe space to just kind of hang out, we can dim the lights and you can meditate. We do whatever. Please come in and see us at in Ridgewood. We're at 14 West Ridgewood Avenue in Ridgewood, New Jersey.
And our workshops on the website.
Yeah, we have a lot of what we just started
Upcoming.
gearing up on workshops. So definitely follow us on social media at 1111 Healing and check out the website because we're putting up a lot more workshops and
Yeah.
classes. Yep.
Great stuff, guys. So I want to remind you to please, if you have a question for next episode, please email 1111healing.com and excuse me,
Guys,
info.
info.
I got two of them now.
You're fired. I'm just kidding.
Info at 1111healing.com. And if you'd like to learn more about workshops or the shop itself, that is 1111healing.com. Anything else, guys? Questions, comments,
No,
concerns?
we're
Thank
so
you,
glad to be
Ali.
here. Yeah.
Thank you.
If we can
Thank
leave
you,
anything
Ali.
there, you just got to throw things up against the wall and just do it because we've been talking
Absolutely.
about doing this forever and we finally did it. So thank you, Doug.
Thanks, Doug.
Absolutely. My pleasure. So thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time on 1111 Live.
Have a good one, guys.
See you guys.